The most long plays I've ever seen in a scrimmage. That's good and bad. A lot of young guys, different guys, making the long plays, and then you always got to give credit back to your offensive line if things are happening good. And then defensively, I think taking their responsibility and making tackles, and you miss a tackle out there in the secondary, and all of a sudden it turns into a long play. But things, we'll get those things corrected. But you feel good when you feel like you got a threat, and again, most of the guys that's doing it's young guys. Peoples steps in there and makes a couple of guys miss, and McMillan, I was talking about him the other day, and Peoples too, and DJ Reed. He didn't. I don't know how many he had, but he didn't have too many opportunities where there was a hole. But I like where we are as a football team.
You obviously have a lot of guys out from your first team defense right now. How did you feel about Brewer playing against that first team defense when he was out there?
Yeah, I thought Brewer handled himself well. Kind of does what Brewer does, and pulled it down and got good yardage running a couple of times. And Brewer's steady as a rock. He's just solid, steady, smart. Does a good job being accurate with his throws, and so good quarterback. And the good thing is, second year is going to be, he's got a chance to be a lot better even than he was first year.
Did you detect any lingering issues with the back at all today?
No, I didn't. You asked Michael, but I thought he looked good.
What were you guys kind of wanting to see out of him this spring in general?
Oh, I think just continue to develop, and and now be on time, get the ball to the right guy, which he does a pretty good job of, but get it on the right timing, and I think he's done well. We took our two young quarterbacks and let them be live, and I think that's to their advantage right now, because you want to see if they can make some plays, and sometimes they get swallowed up back there. But I give those guys a chance to use all of their ability, and I think that's what happens when you let the quarterbacks go live. And then Motley, a couple of long plays by him and some good throws, and I thought he was impressive. And he gives, he's a big old guy that's athletic and can do some things. So, overall, we'll go back and look at the video, but I thought it was a good day for Virginia Tech football here today.
The thing that I look at it, just like there were some touchdowns today that we had, that there's particular looks that Bud gave us to work on. So they're skewed. They're completely skewed. This is a scrimmage. I just don't think it's fair on either side of it. It's just not right, because we're trying to get things done. We're trying to accomplish things as coaches, and everything is skewed, and things are looked at positive or negative, and it's just that's why.
You have to feel pretty good though. The offense put up some big plays today. Were you happy with?
There were some things that we did I thought that were good. I thought at the end of practice we ran the football, which that's a huge emphasis for us. We got to get our second group better. Our first group hasn't arrived yet, but you saw some stuff with toughness. The first group, I think, took care of the ball. I think we had a fumble, 2 fumbles, and I think Ford had an interception, if I remember correctly. So we got to get rid of the turnovers. Pre-snap penalties with the first group was better. Second group, I have to look at the stats whenever I get them, but it appeared to be better. But just like I said, there's the good and bad and ugly. There's some things that we did good, and there were some things that obviously we got to improve on to get ready for the season.
After he missed a week, did Brewer show you what you thought he would do?
Yeah, he played well, I think. Just like I said, I'm always careful about commenting on a quarterback after a scrimmage. There's times that you think because of numbers on that he played really well, and you go look back and he didn't, and vice versa. So from the sidelines, it appeared that he played well, similar to what Motley did the week prior.
Understandably, you lamented not being able to work with Logan for a second year.
Oh gosh,
Right, and now you're getting a second one with Brewer. I know he's missed a little bit of time with the back, but just can you quantify what that second season working with the guy
it's
is?
huge. And the good thing with Logan is Logan was here a whole month and got to play with him for a month, which was good. Yeah, it's great whenever you get to work with a guy more than a year or two, and that's probably the biggest reason why coming to Virginia Tech was awesome, is because I wanted to stay and go back and do what I did at Michigan, build a room, coach the guy for more than a season. You know, when you're doing those one and done things, and the rodeo that I was on, that's hard. It's hard to develop a guy. It's hard to get him to do what you want to do, but Coach Beamer and Shane and then gave me a great opportunity to be at a great place, and the longer I can stay here, the happier I'll be.
How do you think Ford and Durkin responded to the extra pressure of being live?
I think they got the hell beat out of them, to be honest with you, and that's a good thing. As a young guy, you have a lot of bad habits, and the only way that you learn to change those habits is getting hit. And as painful and as awful as it looks, great lessons are learned there. Ford's got to learn rhythm, body position, getting his weight distribution right. Durkin's not ever taking the right footwork right now, and it's good. Those young guys need all the reps they can get, and our older guys are starting to get a better feel for it. We're still taking too many sacks, in my opinion. We got to do a better job of, once we've exhausted our progression, either run it or throw it away to avoid a negative play. Like I've been saying, sacks are a team deal, and you know, a lot of times the offensive line get blamed for something that a quarterback or a wide receiver or back or tight end. It's a team game, period, end. And we're just trying to make a better emphasis of, I mean, it makes you sick whenever you see 34 sacks. It's utterly ridiculous. So we're trying to get better in that area.
As opposed to last week, we saw some more big plays from the offense.
Yeah.
Breakdowns, or what did you?
Well, we'll look at it. I mean, we had more big plays against us today than I've seen in a long, long time. Part of it goes back to a young secondary. You know, they've got to protect their leverages, all those kind of things. It goes back down to technique and fundamentals. I was talking to Torian. He said maybe they'll listen now, you know. So that's part of it. You know, we got a lot of young guys playing on our side of the ball right now. Offensively, they're doing a nice job, but you know, there's just a lot of big plays, particularly when you get that second defense right there in particular. A lot of big plays. So, but you know, hopefully they'll see themselves, you know, correct it, and see that, you know, they've got to take that next step then. So, you know, but that second group's a long way away right now. So, you know, there's a big gap between that first unit and that second unit, particularly, I'd say, in the perimeter, you know, particularly there. So.
Woody Barron looked like he had a pretty active day. How's he been doing?
You know, Woody's done a nice job this spring. He missed last scrimmage. He got an ankle and missed most of this week of practice, but did a little bit on Thursday, and then you know, played today. So, you know, we're gonna go look at the film, and but you know, those guys, I feel really good about where we are with our defense. We've got depth there. We have no depth at, you know, at defensive end. I think I would say this. I'll say Seth Dooley really is a guy that's really improved at that position. You know, so when you get Ken back, you got Daddy, and you know, I think Seth. Those are three guys we can win with. We got to find another guy, you know, at that position right there. But I really like what Woody. I really like what Nigel's doing. I really like where you know, how Finney Mahota's coming along. He's really been disruptive in practice. You know, and we got to get Steve Sobchak back. You know, he was doing some good things, and then he got hurt last scrimmage and has been out all this week, so didn't work today. So hopefully we'll get him back next week. But I've been real pleased with the interior guys. Now we've got to develop some linebacker or defensive end depth. We also got to develop some linebacker depth, and obviously we've got to keep growing in the secondary. You know, you just got a lot of young guys, a lot of first-time guys out there, and they're making a lot of first-time mistakes.